welcome back to the weekly reading writing update. Got a couple books that I want to talk about that I've either finished or am in progress of, and some writing update for you. Reading update first. I finished The Courage to Be Disliked. That was one of the better nonfictions that I've read this year. It has a very interesting way, like structure, in that it is it's read slash written as two people going back and forth, a philosopher and a youth. So what I really ended up liking about that was that it kept the story of the nonfiction really fresh. It made it to where it didn't feel like you were getting kind of these repeating patterns of do this but not this, oh but do this but not this. Don't get me wrong, it does that. There are some repeating, like, continuing themes, but the way that it's written as kind of an interview slash like conversation style really makes that feel very intentional. It makes it feel like something you can kind of grasp onto. The book itself goes through a lot of different um, philosophical ramifications and things that may help you or help one. Um, the main principle is it is about Adler's philosophy, and the title, "The Courage to Be Disliked," is a big part of the book in kind of an undertone. Um, it certainly has that at many of the points, but it kind of goes by these different. The book is outlined as night one, night two, things like that, or not things like that. Night one, night two through night five, I want to say, and I don't really know how the youth got to this place where he's talking to this philosopher, but it's it seems clear that this youth is someone who doesn't necessarily like themselves or anything like that, and seems to be kind of searching for some guidance within that. So the main premise of the book is that you kind of need to be able to separate yourself from other people's expectations and thoughts and feelings, and that you are responsible for you and not for other people. So really basic subject that I think gets covered in a really deep way. So that was a great read. It is only about a 6 hour audiobook, so that's a pretty fast one to get through if you have a decent commute or just really enjoy audio. I started Blood Over Bright Haven last week. I am about 170 pages into that. I've been a little slow on reading this week. I kind of feel like sometimes that's good to take some time to take some find some other things that you want to do at the time, to some things you want to enjoy. Frankly, I was just tired. I had just come off of like 3 weeks of travel, and that just meant that I came home pretty tired and um, wasn't doing a whole lot. Had a lot of things to catch up on here with family and such, so that just translated into less reading. So I don't necessarily love that, but I think sometimes that's what you kind of have to just kind of have to do that. I also did not drink enough water, so I'm catching up now. So, Blood Over Bright Haven, only about 170 pages into that, but the story is very different. It's not what I expected out of an ML Wang book after reading The Sword of Kaigen. That's not to say I don't like it, but it's very different and not what I expected. So the premise is that there is this city that people that the majority of people live in, at least that's the insinuation thus far. And there are these mages, and the way that they do their spells is through kind of like a typewriter, and they have to write two different spells for all the spells that they're going to do. It's a really interesting take. I think what's kind of cool is that it's very complex in that it's like you have to do your math, your mapping, all this stuff to get a spell out. So it's a very different take on, like, the like wand kind of wizards or anything like that. The book's kind of hinted that you can do magic that way, but it has to be like done on the spectrograph, and it has to be then like cast to a device. I don't really understand how that works yet. Um, as I would have expected from ML Wang, it's very character focused, which I think is a strength of hers. You've got two pretty main characters. One that you're introduced to in the in the first chapter, and then the second, who I would kind of call our main protagonist. Um, and she is, essentially a mage, and she wants to be the best mage. And historically, mages in this city are only men, and she's the first woman. I really liked in Sword of Kaigen ML Wang's character work. I think that that is, one of the strengths of her books. I'm excited to see where Blood Over Brighthaven goes. I do have a little bit more travel coming up, so I'm kind of trying to figure out what books I want to read next. I'm feeling like Blood Over Brighthaven is very. It's a little bit of a slow burn, and that's been kind of fun. Um, I've been reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and I'm addicted to that. I'm very excited to get back to it because Matt Denneman does a great job of kind of leaving you on some cliffhangers, but it's been almost a little refreshing to read something that's a little bit slower, a little bit more like character and complexity of story driven, as opposed to kind of like a Dungeon Crawler Carl, where it's like, the hits keep coming like one after another. Um, so that's been interesting. I buy the next two, so I've got 4 and 5 kind of lined up. Um, but I'm not sure where I'm going to go next as far as reading goes. I also need another nonfiction or an audiobook, so I'm going to kind of see what's out there and what's available. I think I said last week or something that I'm not buying a whole lot of books. Well, I'm buying the Dungeon Crawler Carl because I've loved them so much, and they're just not super available in the library or anything like that. And I'm just, man, I'm just not enjoying Kindle reading right now. So I'm just kind of going with physical for now. And I've got a lot that I can get caught up on. My inclination is I think I will finally get to Name of the Wind on my travel. Just because, I mean, logistically, it's a great sized travel book. And it's so well received, and so many people it's their favorite book. So I'm very excited to get to that one. I think it'll be great. The other possibility is I really have been wanting to get back to Wheel of Time. I will move on to The Great Hunt. That's book number 2. So that's another possibility. So it might be one of those or both of those. Who knows? That's going back on the shelf for now. I'm running out of shelf space. I've got to reorganize and do something about this over here. Okay, writing updates. We crossed the 70,000 word count this week, which is, it's feeling like I'm like, man, this is becoming something. It's really cool. I've hit this kind of point where I feel like I've got a lot of storylines that I need to focus in a little bit and kind of start closing some stuff out, or I need to make it longer. I would call it about 67, 68% done right now. It's just I've got a lot of things kind of in the pipeline that I'm like, oh, I need to tie that end up. I need to do this. So I need to either just kind of press on and then go back and get some rewrites in and some editing in that kind of fixes some of those, or I need to start really wrapping some stuff up and figuring out, what the end of this is going to look like. Because I've been doing this from a discovery standpoint, I do feel like I haven't gotten the whole thing fleshed out yet. So there's still some question about what the climax is going to be. I have some ideas, but I don't really know exactly how we're going to get there, or exactly what the outcome is going to be. So a little bit interesting, you know, depending, no matter what the quality of this is, it's been an incredible learning experience. And so I anticipate that the next book after this will be even better, whether that's, a follow up to this, something else entirely. You, Frankly, if it's just this, but with some heavy rewrites, I think that this has been so much of a learning process that I can feel my style developing, and that's really fun. It's really fun to see that happen, kind of in real time, and to share it with all of you, through these updates, and get to look back on what I was doing at the time. I looked back on my first kind of like update that I never even published. I did it in my car, and it was just kind of crazy. I was at like 3,000 words. So it's just it's wild that this has come this far, and it's exciting, and it's making it really fun to keep on going. I don't have much in the way of news or anything like that this week. Like I said, I've just been a little bit slow at reading this week. What's kind of taken my time in that is I've been watching some more shows. I got through. I think I have one more episode of the Murderbot series on Apple Plus to get through. Um, I've really liked that. It kind of started off a little bit cold for me in that I thought it wasn't. It strayed from the books a little bit more than I would have liked. And then I think a couple episodes in, it kind of hooked me back. So that's been really fun. That's taken up some of my time. I've also been on a little bit of an Attack on Titan journey. I had a friend really recommend that again, and I've been watching that kind of intermittently. I just don't watch a ton of TV, so I watch like one episode at a time, and then I'll usually go read or write or do something else. So that's kind of been what I've been up to. Again, it's just been kind of a mental week where I've just been like, this is just one of those weeks where I just need a little bit of time. I've been getting out on the mountain bike, so that's been a lot of fun. I got a new mountain bike right before I traveled, so I knew that I was going to want to come home and do that quite a bit. And when you're out of town and you come back, you just want to spend time with family a little bit more. So that's been where I'm at. I say all that just to kind of hopefully encourage somebody out there. None of these hobbies is a race. Even your work is not a race. This is probably coming from a place of just having finished Courage to Be Disliked, but like take your time. Really do the things that you enjoy, and the things that you enjoy never need to be a rush. Do them for your own enjoyment, and do them so that you can feel refreshed, not to race somebody else or do something like that. I think we all kind of sometimes get caught in the kind of the Goodreads trap, or the to be read trap, where it's like, oh, I need to read more and do more. It's okay. Like, we got plenty of time. There's new books all the time. There's always something to be excited for, and I think that's what's great about this hobby, is that you can pick it up and put it down really easily. So that is it for this week. Really appreciate you stopping by. If you have got something you're really excited about reading, drop it down there in the comments. We can have a talk about that. If you've got something upcoming that you're excited to see come out, drop that in the comments as well. I've been really bad about new releases this year, so I'm not really sure what's out there. I'm just kind of getting caught up on some required reading in the fantasy sci-fi world and the nonfiction world. So thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you next week. Bye.